Hello. Before we get into the video itself, I just want to say that we will be discussing an article from BBC News that talks about very low calorie diets. So if you are affected by things like eating disorders or talking about low calorie diets, then please don't go any further in watching this video and make sure that you all take care of yourselves. Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's James here. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to be having a look at this article that I found on the BBC News website, and the headline is NHS Soup and Shake Diet Can Beat Type 2 Diabetes. Now, this is about an officially endorsed diet by the NHS, which is people can reverse type 2 diabetes by going on a strict 900 calorie a day liquid diet offered by the NHS. So this offer is strictly for people who have been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes within the last 6 years, and it's also for people that are of working age, so between 18 and 65. So from a personal point of view, I did do a shakes and meal replacement bar diet on my own, and this was before I was diagnosed with diabetes. So it was about 2006, 2007, something around that kind of year. And I didn't do very well on it, probably because I was unsupervised. And yeah, I lost about 20 pounds within 10 days, and I began getting heart palpitations after the 10th day. So I stopped the diet, and yeah, it didn't work out very well. So yeah, let's have a read through this article, and we'll have some talking points here and there. So this is yeah, BBC News website by Michelle Roberts, who is the digital health editor at BBC News. So people can reverse their type 2 diabetes by going on a strict 900 calorie a day liquid diet offered by the NHS. Sticking to it may be challenging though, results suggest. Dieters must endure a few months of consuming only shakes, soups, and meal replacement bars before healthy solid foods can be gradually reintroduced. Of many thousands invited, hundreds completed the year-long program, findings published in the Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology Journal reveal. A third shed lots of weight, nearly 2.5 stone, 16 kg, and put their diabetes into remission. So this was obviously like a clinical trial that was done beforehand, before it was, brought out by the NHS itself. And I guess a third of people losing weight is quite a substantial amount. So they felt that a good number for it to be put out to the people at large. Now, obviously, the NHS does various things to combat weight loss and obesity and type 2 diabetes. A lot of the time, they will just throw medications at people. So it'll be like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Trulicity, things like that. And those medications will also be offered to people with type 2 diabetes to help keep that under control. That is one of the quote unquote side effects of these weight loss drugs. And a big reason why people find it hard to get said drugs in the months of January, February, and March is because it is used as a weight loss drug. So the supplies run out, and the poor people who have type 2 diabetes and rely on things like Trulicity, i.e., people like me that used to be on it, would not be able to have it for a few months, and our blood sugars would shoot back up because it's when you don't take it, your hunger cues are so unbalanced that you will find yourself eating more. And this is from a personal point of view, obviously. So I was on Trulicity for a few years, maybe like 1 or 2 years after I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I was on Trulicity. And so when I say Trulicity, just, intertwine it with Ozempic because it's basically the same thing. It's the semaglutide family of medications that will help people lose weight and to control their type 2 diabetes. So yeah, when I came off Trulicity, I found myself being extremely hungry all of the time, and I didn't understand when I was hungry and when I was not. So you can imagine in the dreary winter months like January, February, and March, all I wanted to do was just eat in the dark because obviously it was dark early in the winter months. But yeah, it's a good It's good to have different alternatives other than medication when it comes to combating type 2 diabetes and obesity. So the article carries on. The program is being offered to people around England, so just England, not anywhere else in the UK. It is separate from the weight loss jab Wegovy that will be provided by some specialist NHS weight loss management services. Okay, so I've been on a few NHS managed weight loss services, and stuff like Eat Well. I was referred to a nutritionist. I being honest, I wasn't in the right mental state for it, but I never found any of it helpful. It was kind of stuff that I already knew and wanted to keep my head in the sand about. I found that when I was able to make sustainable change was when I looked things up for myself and educated myself on these things. I guess being quote unquote forced to do these kind of programs made me a bit defiant and like I know best kind of thing. So when I sorted my head out and my life situations were better, I decided to enroll on a nutrition course. Luckily, in England, you can do level two courses for free, and I got a level two qualification in nutrition and health. And from that, I gave myself a lot more understanding of what happens with the food that I ingest and stuff like that. So for me personally, I would say that me doing my own research of reputable sources has helped me massively with my weight loss and to get myself to a point where I can have sustainable change and not go back to the 500-pound person that I was. And yeah, mentally, I still feel like that 500-pound person, but I think that's something that everybody who goes through massive weight loss has happened to them. And yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing because I feel mentally like I could still demolish like two or three pizzas in one sitting, whereas my stomach now will be like no 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 no, just a few slices will be fine. So yeah, it's definitely a massive change that's required in your own mentality to succeed in programs like this, which is why two-thirds of people, didn't lose a lot of weight. So yeah. Diabetes UK said people should be supported to find the approach that is most appropriate for them, whether that involves medication, dietary changes, or bariatric surgery. I completely agree. There should always be fundamental support when it comes to any kind of weight loss because weight loss does it's not just about eating less and moving more because that is obviously a very very simple thing to do. Eat less, move more. Okay, fabulous, sounds great. I have a ton of mental barriers that prevent me from eating less. I have a ton of physical barriers that prevent me from moving more. Oh shit. So yeah, it's it's so true that you cannot be left to your own devices. There are people out there that are extremely strong-willed and will do all these things on their own, but we all know that has a way of getting in the way of anything that you want to do. And maybe we should have much more better much more better mental health services, especially in the UK, because our mental health services are very lacking, and it would be wonderful if we could have a nice bit of psychiatric or mental help when it comes to weight loss, so that you have a holistic approach to weight loss, and we look at the whole person and not just the fatness of the individual, you know. The Shake and Soup diet program is fully funded by the NHS, so there is no cost to the individual. They get bespoke diet and exercise advice sessions in person or online, as well as support from their GP. Experts say the opportunity can be truly life-changing for people if they can stick at it. Um, yeah, I mean, there is the argument that if you can do this, then you can just eat normally and lose weight. But like I say, the mental barriers are there, and they need to be broken down, or at least, you know, chip through at the hole in the wall so you can see through to the other side. You know, um, it's difficult, isn't it? Because we know that something like shake and soup diets are traditionally associated with things like the Cambridge diet and stuff like that, and they maybe aren't. You know, they're seen as a quick fix, and then when you've done the quick fix, you invariably put the weight back on because you're going back to your old habits, and the old habits have not disappeared. You've just struggled for a few months with just having soups and shakes, and then once you've been released back into the wildness of your old habits, you then just go ho 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 ho. Oh shit, I'm 500 pounds again. So yeah, okay. Unmanaged, diabetes can increase the risk of getting other serious health problems and damage the eyes and nerves. Dr. Claire Hambling, NHS National Clinical Director for Diabetes and Obesity, said, "Obesity is one of the biggest threats to health in the UK, and will be one of the biggest and most costly challenges for health systems globally. So seeing such encouraging outcomes from our programme shows that obesity can be tackled head on. People are eligible if they are between 18 and 65, have been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes within the last 6 years, and have a body mass index BMI over 27 kg per metre squared or over 25 kg per metre squared. Only follow a very low calorie diet if your doctor has recommended it to you." And that is the key thing. I feel like this, just this being put out there as a news article, there is the potential for people who have troubling eating disorders. Well, all eating disorders are troubling, but people out there with eating disorders will look at this and go, okay, well, I'll do a soups and shake diet then, screw it. I'll just have 1 tin of soup and 1 milkshake a day. And then they're unsupervised, and then it all goes wrong for their body. And then there are people that are at a healthy BMI or at a healthy weight, and will look at that and go, well, I need that too. Because there is, obviously, there are people with type 2 diabetes who are at a healthy weight. And if they don't arm themselves with the appropriate information, then they will be looking at this article and seeing the advice, which should be for obese people under supervision. They'll use that for themselves, and they'll essentially be self-medicating with a soup and shake diet, which is a very, very, very dangerous road to walk down. So this person here, Mary Lang, she must have done the diet. Yep, Mary Lang from Frome in Somerset told BBC News that she was able to lose more than 3 stone on the NHS soup and shake diet. Mrs. Lang told BBC Radio Somerset, "The GP suggested I try this after I tried other things myself and hadn't succeeded, and I'm really grateful. This remission program isn't a diet, it's a lifestyle change. Learning about your body, how food impacts you, why you crave food, how you should exercise, and it isn't stopping you having anything. It's improved my exercise and being able to be with my children and family and being out and about and doing the things I love. She added, it's not easy, but it is well worth it to be able to have your life back. And congratulations, Mary, on losing the 3 stone. Absolutely fantastic. Um, she obviously was well taken care of by her GP, and it just goes to show that these kind of things can work. We just have to be aware of the dangers of doing it yourself, or the like I say, the mental barriers that people will have when it comes to such a stringent diet like this. Another user, Juliet, told the BBC, during the total diet replacement phase, I expected to feel hungry, but I didn't, and the products actually kept me going. I enjoyed most of them too, although my particular favourites were the red Thai soup and shepherd's pie. Okay, so they're offering like meal replacement things as well. Okay, so yeah, I've pretty much done that exact same diet in the past, but without supervision, and some of these things aren't actually too bad. I remember there was like a spaghetti bolognese meal replacement that I tried. That actually wasn't too bad. I must admit, it was very spicy if I remember rightly, and obviously extremely low calorie. Um, but yeah, it helps if, the stuff that you consume on these strict diets are tasty, because you don't want to feel like you're missing out. I think everybody gets that sense of FOMO, don't they? Fear of missing out. So if you're seeing if you're, especially if you're in a family setting and you're the only person that's on the soups and shakes diet, and you're seeing, I don't know, you're seeing your husband or wife or significant other scarfing down a Big Mac with chips, then you are going to be a bit jealous and have fear of missing out. But then again, if you've got a supportive family, they won't eat McDonald's around you. So yeah. Dr. Neris Asprey, Associate Professor Diet and Obesity at the University of Oxford, said, we don't know how long the remission will last or how achieving remission can affect the risk of developing diabetes in the future, but we do know that losing weight has huge health benefits in all groups, particularly people living with type 2 diabetes. That is true. From a personal point of view, my fasting blood sugar when I was around 500 pounds was like 10 to 12, and it would be uncontrolled, so I would eat sweets and crisps and stuff like that, and my blood sugar would go up into the high 20s. So my fasting blood sugar, i.e. my HbA1c, would be around 12. And now my blood sugar this morning was 5.2, and it hovers around 5 to 5.5 every morning. And 2 hours after meals, it will be between 5 and 6. So that's like perfect for me, and that is because I've maintained a decent diet and I've lost a lot of weight. So yes, obviously, Neris is a doctor, so she knows what she's talking about. Um, and yeah, losing weight is definitely fantastic for helping with your type 2 diabetes. But as she says, we don't know the long-term effects of remission, but that's something I guess that they'll be thoroughly researching and finding out about. What is type 2 diabetes and why can losing weight help? It is a common condition where the level of sugar in the blood becomes too high. It happens if the body cannot make enough of or cannot correctly use a hormone called insulin, which controls blood sugar. Some cases are linked to being overweight. Me, I know, hands up. That is because fat can build up in and around the pancreas, the organ that makes insulin. Losing weight can reverse the entire process. Type 1 diabetes, meanwhile, is an autoimmune disease that is not linked to being overweight, which is true. Some people can get type 1 diabetes, and unfortunately, that can't be reversed. So yeah, that was the article, and it was a very interesting article because I feel like um, this kind of drastic diet will help people, but it does. it does run the risk of people self-medicating, and we obviously don't want that. So I for one advocate a holistic approach to this kind of thing, where you've got the strict diet, but you've also got the mental health care that should come with it, and the constant scrutiny of your GP and other medical professionals. So, yes, if you yourself are a type 2 diabetic, please make sure that you always take the advice of your medical professional and don't, start self-medicating or anything like that. So yes, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.